I'll never forget the night it happened. It's been years, but I still wake up in a cold sweat, hearing the faint creak of floorboards in my head. It all started on a quiet Friday evening. My parents had gone to a weekend retreat, and I had the house to myself. I was 22, old enough to handle myself, but what unfolded that night would leave scars I couldn't imagine. The house wasn't anything special, just a modest 2-story in a quiet neighborhood. My parents had warned me not to open the door for strangers and to keep everything locked up tight. Standard stuff. I brushed it off. What could possibly go wrong? It was around 10 p.m. when I finally settled on the couch with some snacks and a horror movie on Netflix. I remember laughing to myself about how unrealistic it was. The characters always made dumb decisions. I was so absorbed that I almost didn't hear the faint knock at the door. Almost. At first, I thought it was part of the movie, but then it came again. A soft, deliberate knock. I paused the film, muted the TV, and listened. The knock came a third time. My heart sank a little. It was late, and I wasn't expecting anyone. I crept to the door, my socks muffling my footsteps. Peeking through the peephole, I saw nothing, just the dimly lit porch and the quiet street beyond. Maybe it was some kid pulling a prank. I flipped the porch light off, hoping they'd take the hint and leave. But then the knocking came again, louder this time. I called out, "Who's there?" No answer, just silence. My fingers tightened around the doorframe as a wave of unease crept over me. I decided to check the security cameras. My dad had installed them around the house, one at the front door, one at the back, and one overlooking the driveway. I pulled up the app on my phone, but the live feed was glitchy. The front camera showed static, the back camera was frozen, and only the driveway camera was working. I could see my car parked there, but nothing else. Suddenly, a notification popped up. Motion detected at back door. I froze. The back door? I switched to the back camera, but it was still frozen. My mind raced. Was someone trying to break in? I double-checked the locks on all the doors and windows, making sure everything was secure. My breathing was shallow, my ears straining for any sound. And then I heard it, a faint scraping sound coming from the kitchen. I grabbed a knife from the drawer and slowly made my way there. The kitchen was dark, except for the faint glow of the streetlight filtering through the blinds. Everything looked normal. I checked the back door, still locked, but the scraping sound persisted. It was coming from inside the house. Panic set in as I realized the noise was coming from the basement door. It was ajar, just a crack, and the sound was unmistakable now. Something was moving down there. "Hello?" I called out, trying to keep my voice steady. No response, just the sound of dragging. My pulse thundered in my ears as I stepped closer. The basement light was off, and the switch was at the top of the stairs. I reached for it, my hands trembling, and flicked it on. The light flickered to life, illuminating the narrow staircase and the cluttered basement below. Nothing looked out of place. "Is someone there?" I called again. And then, a voice, whispering, low, guttural, and completely unintelligible. I backed away, slamming the basement door shut and locking it. My mind raced. Was someone playing a sick joke? Or was this something far more sinister? The whispers stopped, and then the knocking started again. But this time it wasn't coming from the front door. It was coming from the windows. All of them. Rapid, insistent knocking, as if someone, or something, was surrounding the house. My phone buzzed with another notification. Motion detected at driveway. I pulled up the app again, but the driveway camera showed nothing, just the empty street. My chest tightened as I realized the knocking had stopped. The house was eerily silent, and then my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text message, an unknown number. "Why did you lock the basement door?" My blood ran cold. I stared at the screen, my fingers shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. Before I could respond, another text came through. "We're already inside." I bolted to the nearest room and locked the door behind me. My mind was screaming at me to call the police. But when I tried, my phone wouldn't connect. The signal was gone. I was trapped. And then, the floorboards outside the room creaked. I pressed myself against the door, holding my breath. I could hear them now. Footsteps, slow and deliberate. Someone was walking through the house, their movements calculated and unhurried. I glanced around the room for something, anything, to defend myself with, but all I found was a heavy lamp. The footsteps stopped just outside the door. A shadow moved under the crack, and then the knob started to turn. I gripped the lamp tightly, ready to swing, but the door didn't open. Instead, there was a low, guttural laugh. It sent shivers down my spine. "You can't hide forever," the voice taunted. I don't know what came over me, but adrenaline kicked in. I yanked the door open, ready to fight. But the hallway was empty. No one was there. I didn't wait to find out what was happening. I bolted down the stairs and out the front door, not stopping until I reached a neighbor's house. They let me in and called the police. When the cops arrived, they surrounded the house and began a thorough search. After what felt like hours, they emerged with a man in handcuffs. He was disheveled, wearing dark clothes, and had tools for breaking and entering. One of the officers told me the man had been hiding in the basement, waiting for the right moment to strike. The whispers, the noises, everything had been his attempt to scare me and lure me into making a mistake. The officer added that the man was wanted for a string of home invasions in the area. I felt a mix of relief and terror, knowing how close I had come to real danger. To this day, I can't shake the memory of that night. The police told me I'd done the right thing by locking the doors and staying alert. But even now, every creak in the house sends a chill down my spine. At least now I know one thing for sure. Monsters are real, but they don't hide under your bed. They walk among us, waiting for their chance to strike.